Welcome to Live, Life Inspired Views for Every Day. My name is Chris Meyer, and I'm a curious soul. Last week, I went to spend the day with my 96-year-old mom and my sister Frida, who is mom's caregiver. I sat with mom on their patio and started to read her little nuggets from my journal. As I read from one to the next, mom would say, "Oh, I should write that down." She enjoyed it so much, and I enjoyed sharing them so much that I thought I would just thumb through my journals this week and give you random nuggets that are humorous or meaningful to me. I hope you find something you can write down in your journal. Enjoy. Here's number one. We have an old postcard written by my grandma Murwold around the 1920s. Postcards called penny postcards because of the stamp that was just 1 cent, were the way people in those days texted. They sent these postcards through the mail and often said just ordinary things like, "I made it home okay, hope you're doing well." That's it. Just simple statements of the moment. We do the same thing today with our texts. Well, the postcard Grandma sent made all of us siblings howl in laughter. It read, "I'm at the train station. Where are you?" She sent it. What a hoot. My sister Deb shared a quote with me the other day that Jamie Ford wrote in his novel Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet. He wrote, "I try not to live in the past, but sometimes the past lives in me." Reflect on that. The past does live in us in good ways and sometimes in not so good ways. That quote reminded me of one from Nelson Mandela after being released from 27 years in prison. He wrote, "As I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison." Here's one that Mom just loved. Margaret Atwood said, "In the end, we'll all become stories." That poses a question, I think. What stories do you want to be said or remembered about you? We can make those stories and edit them now. Which reminds me of a quote I recently received from another faithful listener, Larry Winter. He shared from an unknown source. "Kindness is the most tender and powerful way of leaving a memory inside people's hearts." Rumi said, "Live life as if everything is rigged in your favor." Just think about that one for a minute. Do you live expectantly for good to happen or for bad? There is energy in our attitude. Now you won't believe what one I just turned to. The Greek philosopher Seneca said, "Don't suffer imagined troubles." We spend so much time worried about how bad things are going to be that we actually torture ourselves more than the thing we are worried about ever could. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Here's one that I wrote in, and underneath it I wrote and memorized in capital letters. Where you see Rachel Naomi Reman wrote, "Perhaps the secret of living well is not in having all the answers, but in pursuing unanswerable questions in good company." Wow. Remember last week I described the group of friends that sat together and talked so thoughtfully after eating the Danish dish Evelskiver? That quote describes the joy we found in pursuing unanswerable questions in good company. Seek those moments. To go along with that, I have this quote by Emily Dickinson. "I felt its shelter to speak to you." Oh, the gift of having those souls in our lives who we feel in safe shelter to share our thoughts with, don't you think? As a counselor, I love this quote by an unknown source. "Heal so you can hear what is being said without the filter of your wounds." Often we need others to help with the healing process, as James Baldwin wisely says in this quote. "I've always felt that a human being could only be saved by another human being." And on the next page following in my journal, I have the quote by Brian McLaren. "Rejection hardens people, but acceptance makes the transformation possible." Hmm. I believe rejection, or the feeling of it, is the root of many of the wounds people carry. As a quote by Richard Rohr that I've written in many of my journals, "If you do not transform your pain, you will transmit it." Find the shelter of those who can help you heal your wounds. I so love the word curious. Whenever I asked my dad why he decided to learn about something or other, he would always respond, because I was curious. Hence, it's so fitting that the last two words he said to me before he died were, "Stay curious." So, another quote that supports the importance of what my dad was about is by Augustus William Hare and Julius Charles Hare, who wrote, "Curiosity is little more than another name for hope." So, a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson to follow that says, "Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." Hmm. Leave your trail by being curious, living in hope, accepting and loving those you like and those you don't like. And as Anne Frank said, do good, then do it again. An ending quote on which page I wrote, "My credo," by an unknown source. Walk like you just got the best news of your life. Talk like the world is listening. Move like life is designed in your favor. Energy is magnetic, and confidence bends reality. Some call it arrogance, but others will call it you're naive. But the people who believe good things will happen to them, they're usually right. This week on your bathroom mirror, write your favorite quote. Join me next Monday for Live, Life Inspired Views for Every Day. I'm Chris Meyer, and I'm a curious soul.